broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Alrighty, welcome to another edition of Spotlight On, where we take an actor, actress, and we spotlight them. And today I'm very excited. I have an actress who's been on Mad Men, that's where I first discovered her. Other shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm, Parks and Recreation. She's currently on CBS's hit comedy, and I kind of call it a comedy drama, Mom, Beth Hall.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
I just want to start off with that. I feel like it's a comedy drama.
Absolutely, it is. I mean, because they run the fine line between comedy and drama because they're dealing with a serious issue. Mm-hmm. But it can also be funny. Which goes to the whole thing that
just about anything can be funny if it's written well and done well, right?
You're not making fun of it. You're just laughing at the craziness of life when you have this problem.
Yes. And we have Allison Janney, who, I mean, come on. So how did Mom come into your orbit, first of all? Then we'll go into,
It's a pretty funny story. I mean, people are saying, I tell people this story because, it gives them hope. But, we were auditioning for things, and my manager submitted me for a guest star spot on Mom. And they said, well, we're not going to have her come in for that. She's not really right for that. But there's a co-star role, and it could be recurring because it's in the AA meetings.
Okay.
So it was like one line, and I said, I'm not going to do it. And so the casting director convinced us to do it, so we had to go in, pre-read.
Oh, my God. For one line?
For one line.
That's crazy.
But they do that for everyone.
Yeah.
And so then I got called back, and then you do the callback with Chuck Lorre. And
wow.
Eddie and Nick and all the creator producers.
Yeah.
And, I did my little bit, which was, hi, my name's Janice, and then I get cut off.
Oh, how funny! Okay.
And then I do it. I say it again. I get cut off again, and so it's real. So it was fun, and I got to the set, and everyone was so amazing. I was like, okay, I belong here. This is wonderful. Yeah. Allison Janney. Oh my gosh!
I would say you hit the jackpot.
Yeah, she was so warm and friendly, and she welcomed me with my one line there, and. You rehearse all week, and then you get ready. So literally, I'm in makeup a half hour before the show, and they're still rewriting. And they said, "Oh, bring everyone out for this scene." And I come out, and everyone's looking at me like, we cut your line.
Oh my God!
So and it has nothing to do with you. Just it wasn't working.
Which happens, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are literally rewriting during the taping, so it's constantly happening. It just so happened that little bit wasn't working. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? And so we'll just sit in the group, and we'll get reaction shots and things like that. And we love you. We'll have you back. And
okay.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, we know business.
So that was like episode 4, and then episode 15, they call me back for this part of Wendy, who cries a lot, and they're like, oh. And then I talked to Gemma later, one of the producer creators, and I said, did you call me in that because I cried a little when I got cut? And she's like, no, I thought maybe you would think that. Because when people are nice to me after something bad happens, then it makes me like emotionally and more crying. And I'm always like at the verge of tears in my life anyway. So I got called back to do this part of Wendy, and it's like, do we know she can cry? And I had done a crying scene on Mad Men.
Yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, she could cry. And it just turned out, I guess, pretty well. Chuck liked it, and they kept calling me back, and then offered me series regular at the end of last season.
I mean, that is a hopeful story.
Yeah, it's literally like from one line to series regular.
But literally one line to cut line, just reaction shots to series regular.
Right. And if it hadn't gotten cut, that could have been it. Who knows? I mean, maybe they would have had me back as Janice. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it just worked out really well.
Wow, that's a great story. That's a very good story. I mean, Allison Janney, Anna Faris. I mean, you saw that, you're like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had watched the show before, and I thought it was really cute and funny. And I really felt like I belonged from the beginning, and everyone was so welcoming and nice, and it's just like.
Well, I bring up the comedy, the drama part of it. I mean, there's some parts that I know I have friends who are like, I like my comedies to be just straight up comedies. I don't like dramas to be straight up dramas. I'm like, for me, I like comedy drama.
Yeah. Well, it is basically a sitcom, but they do take risks on certain episodes where they're showing the reality of this life, where, you're a recovering addict and things happen. Sometimes you fall off. Sometimes, people come in and out of your life that are tough, and they're just showing it. And I think it's there's nothing else like that really on TV.
No, there isn't.
So it's really exciting to be a part of it. And this season you're going to see a lot of that as well.
Wow.
But also a lot of funny stuff.
Yeah. Now, with the crying, what is your method of making yourself cry? I mean, and it's believable and cry, and also comically cry too. I mean, how does that all?
It's
work?
funny because I talked about the crying on Mad Men. I mean, it is different crying, and depending on even the scene on this show, sometimes it's more of a serious cry, and sometimes it is more of a comic cry. And if it's at the beginning of a scene and I'm like at starting crying, that's really easy because then I just like go to the side and think of
dying cats or something.
Exactly.
And pull together. And pull together. Okay, now I got it. Okay, ready.
Right. In the middle of the scene, it's a little more difficult, but you just cry.
Well, I guess I guess this thing is you stay in the present. Obviously, you're in the scene. You're with your scene partners or who you're doing. So I guess you stay in that.
And when it's really an emotional scene, I mean, and you're working with Allison and Janney, Anna Faris, Jamie Presley. I mean, it's easy.
Yeah.
Because they give you so much. So it's just.
And Allison's proven she could do drama.
Oh my God.
Obviously,
she can do it all.
She has Emmys.
She can do it all. She can sing. She can do it all.
I know. And Anna Faris, I have just been a huge fan of hers. I mean, not just because of House Money and the other things that she's done, but I see she's kind of one of those women in Hollywood who creates projects and who's just, I mean, she's really talented. Yeah,
she's just started a podcast.
There you go.
Called Anna Faris's Unqualified or something.
I have to check that out.
Yeah, where she answers questions of people's love lives.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I have to totally check that out then, of course.
Definitely.
That one. Okay, so... Now, I mean, we'll talk more about Mom in a second also, but I want to talk about Mad Men. That's where I first noticed you. You were on a show that's so now iconic, now that it's over.
Right.
What are some of your thoughts about that?
Well, I'm feeling so lucky to have been a part of that show, but it was really an amazing experience. I was a huge Mad Men fan before I got the part, and I just got called in for like one line.
Really?
Yeah.
That must be your thing. Just call her for one line.
Wait,
she'll be fine.
There's 3 lines. No. I only want to do one line.
Oh, funny.
And I think they knew it was going to be recurring, but I didn't.
Okay.
As a character, you don't even know who you're auditioning with because when they give you the scripts, they change the names. So I didn't know whose secretary I was even going for.
Oh, wow.
Because they Matt Weiner really wants to keep everything secret.
Well, that's what he had to, obviously. Yeah.
And he did a great job.
Yes, he did. You played Caroline. People don't. If you don't watch her on Mad Men, she played Caroline. You started season 7.
Season 4.
Season 4. I'm sorry. I knew it was on for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, 4 through 7.
4 through
7 was the
last
year, and I started season 4, and then they would say, okay, now I'm like, oh, I'm coming back. It's like, okay,
well, it's good.
And he came back and back and back, and it's just so much fun.
So it's one of those that you didn't know you were reoccurring each time. You just like you would go off, do other projects or audition or things.
Right.
Like, okay, we need to come in on Monday for
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's kind of an actor's life. How do you prepare for that? I mean,
you just never leave town.
Okay.
Because if you do get a plane ticket, you will get called for something.
Oh, how funny, Murphy's Law.
Always. So it's just, you have to be there, when they're shooting, and so it's just like, oh, I hope I'm in that episode. Okay, no, I didn't come with that. Okay, then they'll put you on hold for that next one, and then, you do it.
Have you ever had a situation where you got double booked? Like, you got something, and then a show you're recurring on goes, okay, we want you to come in tomorrow or next week.
Yes. It was, I was on hold for Mad Men, and sometimes I had been on hold, and then, when they do the final script, I'm not in it.
Oh, okay.
You have to keep auditioning and things. Yeah. So I got something on Rules of Engagement.
Oh, okay. I can remember that show.
That we tried to juggle it, and it just didn't work, and so I couldn't do it. So that did happen.
Embarrassment of Riches, of course.
Yeah, but I felt bad.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. But the thing is, so there are times when they've done final drafts of scripts and you are not in it.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you stay on hold.
If you're in the first draft, they call you and say, we're pinning you for this episode, and then, if you make it through the final draft, you're in, and sometimes you don't.
How was versus AMC, which is basic cable, to sitcom, which is network? How is the pacing? Have you seen a difference in pacing when you work on those shows?
Well, they're totally different shows. So Mad Men is an hour-long drama where it's, filmed like a movie. So you are in for maybe this day and this day when they're going to be doing your scenes.
Okay.
And for Mom, it's a schedule of Monday we do the table read and rehearse. Then Tuesday we rehearse and do a run-through. And then Wednesday we rehearse and do a run-through for producers and network. And then Thursday they shoot scenes that they're not going to do for the live audience. And then Friday we go in and prep for the live audience and do the live show. So we know what our week is going to be, pretty much. But with Mad Men, you could be shooting, night. You could be shooting day. You never know which it's going to be. So it's totally different pace and shooting schedule.
Did you enjoy the clothes and the hair and everything? And you were eccentric.
Well, I was, sort of stuck in the 50s or something.
Yeah. It was like you were kind of, how
so as the 60s progressed and people started getting into go-go boots and minis, I still had I
know you did do that.
My below-the-knee dresses. As everyone got their false eyelashes on, I did not.
That last season, I was like, wow, we are in the later 60s, aren't we? I loved it, yeah.
So, the costumes were amazing.
Yeah, they were.
I would go for my costume fittings, and it would be like, oh, that kind of looks too good. So no.
That looks too good.
that fits you a little too snugly or too well.
Funny.
No,
okay.
That's not going to work.
Because I guess you couldn't do that. Not for your character.
Nah, for Caroline.
Yeah,
so.
wow.
But it was still great.
And when it ended, I mean, how'd you feel?
It was sad. It was, sad.
Yes, I'm sure. It was like, oh my god, a paycheck's gone too. No, but it was a great experience. It seemed like everybody had a great experience out of it.
It was a great experience, and it was really a wonderful family where people, we had fun while we're shooting. A lot of game playing in between shots. John Hamm, Richard Summers, everyone loved to play cards and games and stuff.
Yeah, you lead into that. Yes. So, because you're a poker player, aren't you?
I am a poker player.
Yes, I love poker.
We never played poker on Mad Men, but
I know that's so funny, right? I mean, you're thinking we get together and have drinks and play poker.
Right.
I know, and cigarettes and all that stuff. I love poker, first of all. So, what got you? When did you start first playing poker, and how did you get into that?
I probably first started playing poker at like 10 years old with the family.
We like cleaning up at the house. Okay, Dad. Okay,
we would have something called a $2 schnai.
Ooh, okay.
Which means if you've lost your $2, you go on the schnai, which means you can play until you win some money back. And so it's like really. No money involved. It was just for fun. Right. So I started, as a kid playing poker, mostly 7-card stud, things of, draw poker. And, like most people never knew what No Limit Hold'em was.
Oh, right.
Until television and started coming in. And then, my husband and I both started watching. We loved it. And started out small.
Are you surprised how big poker has gotten, just like in terms of its presence?
Yeah, it's amazing because it was like a small community before. Right. And since it got televised, and as they say, it's showing the whole cards where people could say, oh, that's what he has, what's he going to do? Where when you don't see him, it's like, well, what? And you muck, and then it's like, oh, I never knew what, you don't know what they're thinking or what they could have had. But seeing the whole cards changed the whole dynamic of watching poker on television and getting involved in it, and it just blew up.
Have you done any poker for like charities and stuff?
I have. I've done a couple of events where I play in a celebrity charity event, and that's a lot of fun.
I'm sure it is.
It's a different game, but it's a lot of fun.
Who have you played against? Anybody we know?
Oh.
Anybody you can mention?
Oh, yeah, but I'm trying to think of names now.
Oh. But
the guy from Blindside with Sandra Bullock, the football, he was a really sweet young guy.
Okay, very nice. Very nice.
He was good. Who else was playing that? La Bamba.
Let's not how I go. Oh my God, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Lou Diamond Phillips. He's a big poker player.
Yeah, I know he is.
Yeah.
I heard
so
he is.
he goes to a lot of the celebrity charity
You play against
events.
Jennifer Tilly?
I have not.
She's a huge poker player too.
I know.
And she's pretty good.
She is, but she's won a World Series bracelet at the women's event.
So I was like, okay, wow. Do you think you're good too?
I just played in a tournament this past weekend and came in first place. But
wow! Congratulations!
Yeah, at the bike. So yeah, I'm pretty good.
How do you keep that poker face? Is acting coming into play?
I think it doesn't hurt to be an actress.
No, I'm sure, right?
I think it doesn't hurt. Yeah, because especially when I know I'm going to win the hand, that's when, the acting comes better. Because people who are not actors and they have a really good hand, sometimes you can tell. They're like, oh, what should I do? Okay, all my money. I'm going to put all my money in.
You're like, okay, got it.
I don't see that coming. I'm going to throw my cards away. But, so, I think it comes in handy.
Yes. Have you gotten any? What were some of the responses you've gotten on Mom and its subject matter for you? When people come to you and say, "Oh my God, your stuff, this is great," or have they shared stories with you, things like that?
I haven't had anyone really with me. I've heard it a lot with Anna and Allison, where people share their stories and say, the show's really well done and great, and that that's reality. That's how you have to deal with it. I've had people come and say, "Oh, it was so sad last night. I was crying with my daughter," and people saying that they think it's so funny and they love it. But I haven't had anyone say that this is my story as well.
Yeah. That's good. That's good that they come to you and say you're funny or it made you cry. Yeah. You did your job.
Right, exactly.
I did my job last night. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. I love that. Now going back to Mad Men for a second. So I was going to ask, how was John Hamm?
He was wonderful.
He's like one of the nicest people.
He is, and funny, really funny, very nice. He was just a very sweet guy. Yeah. I really enjoyed working with him. He was always nice to me. The first season I was on, one day, it was the day before my birthday, and they were shooting. I wasn't scheduled till the Monday, and this was a Friday, and I was taking my daughter to the zoo, and they call and me just as we're going to the Zooms, could you please come in today because somebody's sick and we have to change the schedule around. And they've got a whole crew standing there losing money, and so I said, oh, all right, it's I have people coming for dinner for my birthday tonight, but okay, I'll do it, because I'm new on the show.
Yeah,
and I want to, and they gave me a cake, and John Hamm and everyone, they sang happy birthday to me, and it was just so sweet, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
That is, it's great. Now, how do you explain to your daughter you had to go to work? I've had kids. How do you?
She was pretty young then, so it was just where are we?
She didn't get mouthy yet, or so why are we going to work? So I've had kids too. There's sometimes they get a little mouthy, so I wasn't sure.
Oh yes.
I wasn't
now
sure.
Now she's 6. It would be a different story. But this was she was 2.5, 3.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's what they did that for you. Do you have anything from the set you took with you? And they wanted?
No, I don't. No, I asked for. I wanted. My glasses that I wore always around my neck, but it's didn't happen.
Dang it. She wants those glasses. Give her those glasses. I'm going to talk to people out there, too. Anybody who's in charge of glasses from Mad Men.
Johnny Props, give me my glasses.
Exactly. Give her glasses. Now, you've been on other shows, too, and I just saw you the other night on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, really?
So, Larry David, go. How was it working with him? Because it's mostly kind of improvisation, correct?
Right. The audition, Larry David auditions with you.
Oh, okay.
So I auditioned with
Larry. How funny.
I auditioned with Larry David, and it's all improv, and it was really a lot of fun.
How was it for you? Do you have improv background at all, or
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I studied with the Groundlings, and so I have sketch and improv background.
Very good.
So I played this receptionist too, and he's eating, Palestinian chicken.
Right.
And so we worked off that, and that was a lot of fun. And so when I got the job, I went to the set, and the director said, "Okay, it's pretty much going to be like the audition, whatever you did." And we were shooting all day, and we shot earlier scenes where I'm walking down the hall, and there's all this stuff, and just reacting and stuff. So it's the end of the day. We get to my reception scene, and Larry David goes, "No dialogue in this one."
What?
And so I was like, what? I don't get to do improv. I don't get to. So, and he was right. I think it worked well with just me giving him a dirty look, which of course was very realistic. You're
like, hello, I had dialogue ready for you. So here's my look.
But but it was actually one of the really good episodes, Palestinian Chicken. It was so funny.
It was funny.
And sometimes I'll watch that show and I'll think, oh, it goes a little too far. But that was a really funny episode.
Sometimes he does. I mean, yes. But I love that show. And I was just like, anybody can story. So you have improv. So how, I mean, just give us a glimpse of how you come up with stuff. You say, Palestinian Chicken, you're a receptionist, go. Like, how do you...
Well, I know that they give you a little bit of a breakdown of what, the chicken is, where it's from, and how a Jewish receptionist might feel about that.
Yes. What you say just it's funny already. I can wait laughing already.
And, you just, the improv rules. You don't deny. You just keep giving. And,
we don't deny. Oh, funny. It's a good one.
Yes, and is the rule of improv. So if he says something, you just... and
Oh, okay. So, I like that. I never heard that before, so that's great.
Yeah, that's improv. That's basic rules of improv, and so, you just hopefully you're naturally funny and say something funny. Yeah. So it worked out well.
So you were at the Groundlings. So
I wasn't a performer for the Groundlings. I studied at the Groundlings.
So what'd you learn from? What sort of things you learned from?
I think that was like one of the best educational experiences to have as an actor, especially a comic actor. Okay. But even as a dramatic actor, doing improv just loosens you up. It keeps you in the moment because you have to listen really well. And I got a lot out of that. I did all through the writing workshop. I did a lot of sketch shows after that where I used a lot of the material I wrote while I was studying the Groundlings. So it was a great experience. People who improv, I think I'm funny a little bit. Yeah. But I think improv is such a fine art. It is, absolutely.
Not everybody can do it.
No, not everyone.
Not really. People can do it. Okay, people can do it, but everybody can do it well.
Yeah. There's some people who are just so amazing at, on the spot thinking and coming up with things. And the more you do it, the more like you have this catalog of things that worked and stuff like that, where the new audience wouldn't know that and things like that. But mostly it's just coming off with stuff in your head because you don't know what they're going to suggest.
Right.
And things like that.
It's a muscle, I guess, like any other muscle of your brain.
And mine's probably a little out of shape.
But I'm sure you probably, if you got right back into it, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it's
I have people I interview who are ex-soap actors. Same thing. It's a certain muscle you have to learn all that dialogue.
Right.
And one goes, well, I haven't done it in a while. I'm like, well, probably if you went back into it, it'd probably come right back.
Yeah, I have a good friend who was on All My Children for years, and it was. You'll never be better at memorizing lines than if you worked on a soap.
Oh, I'm sure, right? But improv. So, what does comedy? Because you're in front of a live audience. What does that do for you?
Well, I love to be in front of a live audience. Some people don't like it. They're like, because if you grew up in the theater and you did, then it's the best because you're getting that feedback, immediate feedback, and there's nothing better than that.
I can imagine. Oh my God.
And it also says, oh, that's where the laughs are, because sometimes you don't know, because you don't know what they're going to laugh at. You can assume, oh, this is a joke line, and this is but sometimes they'll catch you off guard, and you have to know how to pause for laughter and things like that. Yeah. And we do a lot of pausing for laughter.
Do you really? That's good, yay!
So that's great.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what we bring up. It's like a lot of times these shows nowadays don't have live audience, and you're saying what you think the joke is,
right?
And you don't even know if
you hope it's funny when people watch it,
right?
Exactly.
And I guess for you get immediate gratification. You get to see exactly what is going on, what's exactly funny. There you go.
Yeah. So that's what's great about a live audience.
Wow. What has comedy taught you doing dramas? Because a lot of people say a lot of comedians are good at drama roles, and they're like, "Why?" I'm like, "Why are you surprised?" I kind of get it.
Yeah. The rule of thumb sort of is if you can do comedy, you can do drama. But if you can do drama, it doesn't necessarily mean you can do comedy.
Right.
But doing Mad Men, I was pretty much comic relief on the show. So I've probably never on television really done a straight off serious drama. But
you're doing dramas and like theater stuff, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I always feel like I can see why comedians do drama really well. You get both sides, I think, on some level. Yeah. And some comedians, some of the comedy's out of the drama.
Absolutely, and a lot of comedy comes from pathos and that kind of thing. So drama pretty much comes naturally, and in comedy it's timing, and even in drama you need timing and listening and just getting into the moment.
Being present.
Being present in the moment.
Which is always a good lesson in life also, but it's also good, I'm sure, in working.
Yeah, absolutely.
An actor. Now, you've also done some other shows, like you did The Bridge.
I did The Bridge.
It was a show.
I wasn't familiar with it when I did it, but...
Oh, you did? You weren't familiar?
No.
Yeah, it was good. And then Parks and Recreation, of course.
Yeah.
And you've done Jane the Virgin. Mm-hmm. And you did About a Boy, which was the TV version of the movie, I guess.
With Minnie Driver.
Yeah, I love Minnie Driver. How was Minnie Driver? Because I love her.
She was very sweet. I mean, again, it's a different experience doing a single camera sitcom because I was just there for one day, one scene. So you don't work with them all week and rehearse all week and really get to know people. So, but she was lovely on that day.
That's a good question. How is it, to piggyback on your statement, how is it to come in as a guest star? To come in as a day player, a guest star where you're not part of the cast?
It depends on the show, but it's pretty much what I've basically done. So,
right.
But you just come in, you do your scene, you do your job, you hit your mark, and you go.
You go. You're like, I'm a trained professional. I go in, I do my job, and that's what I do. Now, you're from the East Coast.
Yes.
So I love it. My family's from New York. I love it.
From New Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey. I love that. And you went to Rutgers University.
I did.
So before we go to
we won't say what year I graduated.
Oh, we won't say that. It's okay. Don't worry about that at all. But
I did graduate.
You did graduate. Hello, that's number one, right? You did graduate. But no, East Coast versus West Coast. How's it been for you? I mean, because now you're in LA. You've been in LA a few years at this point.
Yeah, over 20 years.
No, I read something said something different, I guess, on what I read. But okay, you've been here 20. So I mean, but still, you have experience there and experience here as an actor. As an actor, what is it like for you?
It's pretty different, actually. New York, I did mostly theater in New York and commercials. Okay. So, and just walking around the city, it's a totally different vibe.
My favorite city. Love that city.
I know. I miss being in New York.
Yes, it's the best city.
And you'd walk and you'd run into friends, you know, and it's like, hi, how you doing? And I remember when I moved to LA, I lived in Sherman Oaks, and I was walking on Ventura Boulevard looking at stores, and literally a guy stopped and said, I noticed you've been walking. Are you okay?
Oh, my God.
Like, are you lost?
Nobody walks in LA.
At that time, nobody did. I think more so now. But at that time, it was like, I'm fine. I'm actually walking. But, so that's a different thing. Yeah. But, yeah, the vibe of New York is very different from LA. Being in your car, walking. Theater versus television. So, you know, I was doing a lot of theater, but very small stuff. I wanted to do more like off-Broadway, Broadway stuff. Okay. And I thought, well, all the sitcom stars are coming to New York and doing off-Broadway and taking all the roles. So I have to go out to LA, and become a sitcom star, so I can go back and do,
how funny.
Better theater in New York. And it's only taken me like over 20 years to become a sitcom star. But... Broadway can't be far behind.
No, it can't be. Get her on a Broadway show. I'm going to work for you. Get her on a Broadway show now.
There you go.
Yes, that's right. That's so funny. Yeah, because New Yorkers know, because I said I have friends who are soap actors when the soaps were in New York. They're not there anymore. And a lot of their off time, they're all gone. I mean, as the world turns, God ain't like me, and they're all gone. They said a lot of their off time was doing off-Broadway, Broadway. It's a very theater. When I go there, I try to see a show or two when I go there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
It's a whole community.
Absolutely, yeah. Doing theater, that was the name of the game in New York. There was very little television, maybe Law and Order.
Law and Order. I think it's all special. They were going to, all the guest stars have gone through Law and Order from New York.
Multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times, right? But you're right. It's mostly just theater. It wasn't so much a heavy
commercials.
TV.
And commercials, which I don't know if it's still heavily commercials anymore, but it used to be. Yeah, so did a lot of commercials and small theater.
And then when you came to California, you're like, okay, I'm going to come to California. I'm going to try to get to sitcoms. I mean, how daunting was it at first when you got out here?
Well, luckily I had some friends who I knew, so it wasn't like
good.
Totally. But it was, it was a different experience. Yeah. And you have to get a real job, and I learned how to typeset in New York, so I was typesetting out here. So I've done a lot of interesting real jobs too.
Well, it's funny. My grandmother, may she rest in peace, she used to always tell me when I first was coming up, she said, okay, if you know how to type, you'll always have a job.
Absolutely. I was a very good typist, always.
Me too.
Way before
Computers, I know.
Computer.
That's different kind of typing too. Computers are different than typewriters. I learned how to type on a typewriter.
That's right.
That's right. Before electric typewriters, I learned a regular typewriter in high
Well,
school.
you're ahead of me.
Like, oh my God, help me. I learned 10 key. It was something she always say, learn 10 key, learn how to type.
I actually had a book that showed finger placement and
Wow.
everything. So I want to learn how to do it right.
Yes, but it's funny. That's when I first started out. I was like, yeah, I was. They would call them secretaries back then. They weren't administrative assistants.
No.
They weren't office man. It was like I was a secretary.
And even after I graduated from Rutgers, and all my friends who graduated from a very good school, Rutgers,
Yes.
all the men went into assistant jobs, like or junior manager or junior whatever it is,
Okay,
especially in
yeah.
like advertising.
Oh, yeah,
They'd be
yeah.
like a junior account executive, and all the women had to be secretaries at first because that's how you had to work your way up. And they were able to work their way up if they wanted to, but that's where you started.
What is your thought about academia? Do you really recommend people should go and have a college experience?
Oh my gosh, yes. Absolutely. First of all, even at any time of your life, if you want to go to college because
Yes.
it's going to only enhance your life, only enhance the knowledge you have and broaden your perspective on everything. Because when you go to high school and you've lived your whole life in one town, maybe most people, your world is so small. And when you go to college, especially a large college or university where people are coming from all over, it opens you up to so many different people's life and lifestyles and ways of thinking that you weren't exposed to.
True.
Especially I even recommend living away at the college because you will mature drastically in the first year.
I agree.
And it was the greatest experience. I really loved going to college.
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing that. I mean, Rutgers is a great school too.
Yeah.
And a really great school. And what did you graduate at Rutgers with?
English.
Oh, very good.
When I went there, it was you had a major, a minor, and a mini, and they had to be
a mini.
A mini was.
I've never heard of it before. A mini.
I think they've done away with it.
Okay, so what were yours?
So my major was English, my minor was psychology, my mini was science. So it had to be in separate,
Sort of
departments, fields. Yeah.
No, I mean, so what is a mini? I mean, I don't even know where to go with that.
It's like 2 semesters.
Okay, I was going to ask you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So I was going to do it in calculus. I loved math in high school.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, I was even going to be either a math major or an English major.
Wow.
And I took calculus the first semester, and
I'll pass.
I barely passed, and I couldn't really understand the professor. He had a very thick Russian accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
And so I said, okay, I just got to do this mini. I got to get this mini out of the way. So I'll do the second part of calculus, and I walk in, and it's the same professor.
Oh my God.
And literally 10 people walked right out and dropped the course.
Oh my God.
It's like, you're not going to understand this guy.
Yeah, I guess it kind of impedes your progress of learning. You can't understand.
So I had my mini in like anthropology or something crazy like that.
We know those.
Yeah.
So when did the acting bug hit you then? When was that?
Always.
Oh, so it was always
yeah,
there.
so it was always there, yeah. I mean, when I was little, it was like, I'm going to be a movie star and wear diamond dresses. And my sister was like, yeah.
Have you worn a diamond dress yet? Okay.
I have not worn a diamond dress yet.
Just checking. That's it. Make her wear a diamond dress and something too. Tell her.
Maybe on Broadway. When
on
I'm on Broadway,
on Broadway, yes.
Dress.
To bring on the show, you never know, right? That's right. So you've always been doing it, but you decided to go to college, do something a little different.
Well, I always knew I was going to go to college, and I thought about majoring in drama. It was a different at Rutgers. It was a Douglas College at the time, and then they just were starting the Mason Gross School of the Arts.
Okay.
But I wanted a more well-rounded situation. I knew I was going to be pursuing acting for the rest of my life.
Okay.
And pursuing it for the rest of my life. Literally pursuing it.
That's yes.
I wanted to learn all different things in college.
Have you been able to apply anything you've learned in college towards your acting career?
Probably even not knowing it, but certainly the social aspect of it. Learning, like I said, experiencing different people and different ways of life, and that's certainly always something you can use in acting. All your experience in life you use in your acting career. So as far as, the calculus situation,
Yes, right,
probably
your mini.
hasn't come into play. My mini hasn't come into play too often.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know if that will, unless you play a calculus professor on something. Would that be funny?
I did just play a science teacher.
See, there we go.
Because
you're an actor. I mean, you can play anything at this point, anything.
Mortimer Gibbons' Life on a Normal Street. It's an Amazon show for young kids.
Very good.
And it was that was a lot of fun. And so I was a science teacher teaching trajectory, and so I had to shoot a basketball into a hoop to show trajectory. Can't even say it now.
Trajectory.
I had to say that and shoot a basketball.
Yeah.
So they're like, we're going to do it, we want to see the whole thing. So if it takes 70 takes, it takes 70 takes.
Wow.
Like, oh my God, what the pressure of this. It was like a mini basketball and a mini hoop.
Okay.
And luckily, my daughter has a mini hoop and a mini basketball that we've been playing with for quite a while.
Yeah.
So I said, well, shoot the rehearsal because in case I make it.
No, right, exactly. That's smart. That's very smart.
So we shot the rehearsal. I made it.
Oh,
and I was
wow.
like, great, now the pressure's off.
Yeah.
We did about 6 takes. I made it every time.
Wow.
And they were like, wow.
I was like,
We thought we
okay.
were going to be here. Well, you just cut our day in half.
Yeah.
So, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a really cute show, too.
So you said, what's the name of the show again?
Mortimer Gibbons' Life on Normal Street.
And it's on Amazon?
Amazon, yeah. They just released it like end of October.
Okay.
The whole season. They release the whole season.
They release the whole seasons, at once. Which is an interesting concept these days now. All these,
I know. It's like you just binge watch.
You just binge watch. And every few weekends I was like, outside, where's E24? I want to order some food. So I'm already on episode 5 of 10. I don't want to leave.
I know. That was me with
Orange is the New Black, Transparent. So all these shows are out there right now.
the Gothic, the English.
Oh yeah,
Abbey, Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey. Yes, we'll get there. Downton Abbey. Yes.
Yeah, I came late to Downton Abbey and just binge watched the whole thing. I loved it. I can't wait for it to come.
My mother did Game of Thrones. She did the first 4 seasons.
I haven't seen that yet, so I have to binge watch that.
Yeah,
at some
she did
point.
the whole. She was like, every weekend I just watched the whole season every weekend. And I was like, wow, girl.
I was a binge watcher long before it was fashionable because I never had seen the Star Wars.
Oh.
So I just watched them all at once
Did you really?
at some point.
That was I mean, to see them. Actually, it's a trip to see them all at once, and you saw them all in order.
Yeah.
I wonder what that would look like. I saw them each when they came out.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would look like just sitting down one day and just seeing all of them.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Are you excited for the new one?
Yeah. I mean, I was.
Well, you said I didn't watch all of them. You're like, yeah.
I watched like the first 3, I think,
Okay.
maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. It reminds me of my childhood and seeing Harrison Ford there, but and Princess Leia. I'm like, oh my God, I'm kind of excited. Like, really. What is one piece of advice that someone has given you that served you well this whole time?
With acting or just in life?
Ooh, let's do life. Why not? Let's get to know you a little bit. What about life?
Well, my grandma said, if you've got your health, you got everything.
That's right. Well, that's basically true. I mean,
but it's not really advice. It's just try to stay healthy, I guess.
Yes. Thanks, Grandma.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think probably the biggest piece of advice I ever got is what goes around comes around, and I really try to live by that. So it's like, the basic do unto others as you'd like others to do unto you, and I've seen it go around and come around.
Ooh, I've seen it too. In some ways, you're like, wow, it really did come around, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
in good ways too.
Yeah, in good ways too. No, that's very true. I mean, like tenfold. Well, for you, you've had. I mean, we just talked about it earlier. You've had several one-line experiences that turned into something regular. That's great. Would you want your kids to be in acting?
Only if I have one daughter, and only
okay.
if she would really, really only want to do that and nothing else. I certainly am not going to push her into it. She's pretty precocious, but she hasn't really expressed a desire yet. She's only 6, but.
Does she comprehend what you do at all yet, or not yet? She's
come to the set of Mom. Yeah. She loves the trailer. And
things
that's
like kind
that.
Of fun. Okay.
And she knows I'm on the show, and we went and saw the sets, and she goes, "Oh, that's where you walked up the stairs and did that." So she gets it a little bit, but a lot of the stuff I've done, she can't really watch. So when the Mortimer Gibbons thing came out, I said, "Nina, Mommy's on a show. Let's watch it." And she's like, "Oh, that's cute. That's good. That's nice."
Yeah, my grandkids are really young, and they're kind of starting. They're 8 and 9. They're starting to finally.
Grandkids? No way.
I do.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yes. So shout out to Rylan, Scarlett, and Zayden. I have 3. And my daughter.
I actually have 3 step grandchildren.
Wow.
My stepdaughter just had a baby 3 days ago.
Congratulations! Oh, that's exciting.
Little Ryan James, he's so cute. It's like a little elf.
James is a great name.
Yes, it is.
It's a great name. So what do you want to be called, or what are you called?
BB.
Oh, that's cute.
Isn't that cute? I looked up like grandmother names that aren't grandma,
right?
Because they have two grandmas, and that's which are all called different things too.
Yeah.
But so I thought that was cute, and my name starts with a B. So.
Yeah, that's very cute. I'm Papa Jamie.
Ah, that's cute.
So that's like he says Jamie says it sounds close to mommy and daddy kind of.
Yeah.
So we went to Jamie is fine. So Papa. Now they kind of call me Papa for the most part, but it's just funny. They kind of go, oh, he's on TV. Oh, okay.
Right, exactly.
They just like, it's Papa Jamie. When is he coming over?
Yeah, exactly. We want to see him in the flesh.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, why can't he come this weekend? Well, he's on TV. I don't know what that means. They don't get it at all. What advice would you give someone who is starting out to act? They're coming into the acting profession. They're coming to LA. They want to do sitcoms. What is something you would tell them or share with them?
Just keep being involved. Keep moving. Don't expect it to happen overnight. Okay. And if it doesn't, that's okay. If it's something you really want, just keep it going. It's like a lot of people are saying about my story, that they're telling people not to give up because you just never know when that moment. And it only takes one person who with a little bit of pull and power to make it happen for you. For me, it was Matt Weiner and Chuck Lorre.
Yep.
I mean, if people like that, if they like you, that's all it takes.
Yeah.
And keep moving, keep working, keep performing, and enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, don't do it.
That's really good advice. If you don't enjoy it, don't do it.
If you don't enjoy the process, because it's a long, drawn-out process of, like I said, pursuing and not knowing what your life is going to be, and you have to want it more than anything, because it does take over your life, even when you're not doing it. Like you said, how do you don't travel because that's the time something's going to happen.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying don't travel.
I know what you mean, but I know what you mean. It's like certain times a year.
Yeah, it's just, and don't take no for an answer, because I've had a lot of no's. I'm
sure. How do you deal with the no's? How do you deal with the? That's just a regular part of life.
You go home and you cry.
Okay, so you know how to cry. We already established that. You know how to cry.
Yes.
And cry well.
Sometimes you don't even make it home before the crying happens. I remember when I literally first out of college, starting out auditioning for a play, like where there's like 500 people online waiting to audition, and you go in and literally these people, they said, I don't think you're right for it. And of course I thought I was so right.
Of course.
And I'm like, what do you? And literally they sat with me for like 5 minutes talking, and I thought, now, looking back, I'm thinking that's just so nice and so ridiculous that they did that. But
yes.
But and as amazingly talented as you might be, and I've seen a lot of talented people give up the business and not do it anymore. You're not going to be right for everything.
Yeah.
So know who you are. Know what your type is. Know what you're going to be good at and what you're going to be right for. And not everyone is going to be the super handsome lead movie star. There's a lot of other parts, and know who you are.
That's good advice. I think that I think character actors are sometimes that's the longest work, right?
Well, what I always would say
yes
is I'm going to do the remake of Driving Miss Daisy, and it's going to be introducing Beth Hall as Miss Daisy.
I like that. I see people. I saw that great documentary, that guy in that thing and that girl in that thing.
Yes, that is a great documentary.
Oh, they're great because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like, him. I've seen him, or her. I've seen it, and they have these careers and they show how tough it, like you said, how tough it can be.
Right.
But people
it's gotten tougher because they're not paying people what they used to pay. I mean, even when you were that guy who worked a lot, you could make a really good living.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, well, take it or leave it, because we got 3,000 other people who take your job, and they don't necessarily appreciate the talent and the wisdom and the experience that some of these people have from working so many things. Yeah. So I'm hoping that changes.
Also too. I just feel like there's room for everybody, and hopefully there's enough work out there. I mean, so everybody gets to work.
Right. There is actually, with cable and everything.
I know there is.
And now Amazon and Hulu and Netflix. There's just a lot of work.
There's shows on PlayStation. I mean, like, there's a show that released on PlayStation. Like, they have a regular, I think it's a sitcom or a drama.
Really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Well, see, and then Hulu has original series, and then right here on AfterBuzz TV, we're doing shows. I mean, there's something for everybody, I think, out there at this point.
Absolutely.
All right. Beth, thank you so much.
Are we done?
Yes, and I told you longer, 45 minutes, girl.
Oh my God, that did go fast. I was like, what could I possibly say for 45 minutes?
You said good stuff. You see, I told you. I knew. I wasn't even worried at all. I knew it, of course. So, Beth, where can they find you?
They can find on Twitter.
On Twitter, where can they find you on Twitter?
At Beth Hall Actress.
That's right.
And Facebook / Beth Hall fan page.
Yeah.
Where I post a lot of pictures and fun stuff.
And on my page, I've been posting some stuff of her too, so you can find it on there too. Of course, we're going to continue following her career and supporting her. And do it now. I always say, do it now. Come on, folks, do it now. My Twitter links, follow her. We're going to get her some people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You were terrific.
It was my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you, and we'll see you again for another Spotlight On. Thank you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.